To thee will I give it. Christian Zionism is a theological and political movement within Protestant evangelical Christianity that supports the existence of the State of Israel and the right of the Jewish people to occupy their national homeland. This might seem harmless enough, but it's being blamed for a significant loss of innocent lives and labeled a quote, brain virus by popular Christian commentators. Why is this controversial and where should God's people land on it? Firstly, differences in the way we interpret Scripture, hermeneutics, often lead us to different theological positions. While Zionism follows from a literal biblical hermeneutic, opposing viewpoints rely on a more metaphorical approach. Since Protestant evangelicals tend to interpret the Bible more literally, they tend to align with Zionism. This should come as no surprise. And while other interpretive frameworks may disagree with the necessity of a modern Jewish state, there doesn't appear to be any convincing theological motivation, at least from the Bible, to actively oppose the existence of a Jewish state or to discourage Jews from settling there. Theological attacks on Zionism are therefore evidently energized by other values and worldviews. Secondly, the key dynamic in the ongoing Arab Israeli conflict is evidently Dar al Islam, or House of Islam, the Muslim belief that once a territory is ruled by Islam, it must always remain under Islamic control. This is not a fringe belief. It is rooted in mainstream Islamic jurisprudence. So, by definition, since the Islamic Ottoman Empire ruled this area for 400 years, right up until the end of World War I, Israel can never make peace with serious adherents to Islam, with Iran and her proxies, Hamas, Houthis, and Hezbollah. Eventually, Israel must either persuade Islamic fundamentalists to abandon their convictions, destroy them, or be destroyed by them. There are no other options. Additionally, Islamic ideology prioritizes loyalty to Islam above any degree of human suffering. The eradication of the Jewish state is commendable regardless of the means, including leveraging women and children as human shields to maximize human misery should Israel retaliate to eliminate ongoing threats. Failing to acknowledge this dynamic in the midst of ongoing atrocities, blaming Israel for causing civilian suffering as they defend themselves is an irrational double standard that places Israel in a no-win situation, but it conveniently energizes convincing propaganda. Thirdly, we should also consider whether the nation of Israel, the Jewish people of the diaspora, actually has a right to occupy what was once their homeland. It is difficult to imagine a reasonable justification for failing to acknowledge this right. For starters, Israel has soundly defeated her Arab enemies in every single war between them. Armed conflicts started by Arab neighbors bent on annihilating Israel. Historically, territory conquered in war goes to the victor. The right to claim ownership of an area is based on the ability to defend it. There is no other consistent historical precedent to establish national sovereignty over a territory. This is how Islam acquired the disputed land in the first place. Secondly, the land of Israel certainly is the ancient homeland of the Jews. This is well established both archaeologically and historically. Arab occupation of the land during the diaspora is irrelevant. Finally, the fact that God himself gave this land to the physical descendants of Abraham as an everlasting possession is apparent to those who take their Bible at face value. Genesis 13, 14, and 15. chapter 15, verse 18, and chapter 17, verse 8. He not only gave it to them, he also enabled them to conquer it step by supernaturally empowering them against far stronger enemies. They could never have done this on their own. Deuteronomy 20, 1 through 4. Anyone who has studied the Arab-Israeli wars in detail will find the same pattern. God is the only explanation Israel has ever existed as a nation state. I will never forget sitting in a military science class at the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1980 when my professor said, quote, "The U.S. Air Force is the greatest in the world. I wouldn't hesitate to put her up against any other nation." And then he paused in the midst of the cadets' patriotic cheering. He continued unexpectedly, "Except one. I would never turn the U.S. Air Force against Israel. There is something about Israeli pilots that's hard to describe. Though they're young, inexperienced, flying inferior aircraft, and aren't as well trained, they consistently execute with a precision exceeding the technical design and capability of the aircraft itself. God himself is with these people. Make no mistake about it." Unquote. Agree with the politics of the Jewish state or not, like their politicians or not, find the Jews themselves reasonable and deserving people or not, this is not the point. The land of Israel belongs to Israel. This is their homeland. They have no other. God himself gave it to them for an everlasting possession, and God is now defending them and enabling them to live there again. Regardless how unpopular Zionism becomes, let no child of God be found on the wrong side of eternal history here. God's purposes in Israel are not yet complete. Romans 11, 25 to 29. They will indeed be accomplished. Woe to anyone who dares to stand in his way.